Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning.
All right, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show with a super special guest we have here today. Our homeboy, but I'm just excited to have Mr. Brian Hobson. We want to know a little bit more about you for our audience. But I'm so glad to have you here, Brian.
Glad to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
You are welcome. A real Kung Fu fighter.
Right.
So let's start off this unofficial. So we're like doing a round robin. Okay. Rusty is, he's going to reminisce about y'all playing G.I. Joe. But let's talk about karate. I mean, it's your profession, Brian. It's what you do. It's how you make a living. Tell us a little bit about how you got into it, because we know you're at an extremely high level. You've done things internationally, and a lot of kids. I mean, you think about when we were growing up, you were the exception. Not many people were into karate. Now it's popular. So tell us about how you got started, the levels you've risen to. Just give us a brief introduction to your karate career, and then we'll go down memory lane some.
Well, I kind of started off when I was really young. At 8 or 9 years old, my mother took me to Fort Monroe. A lot of people don't know this, and there was a kung fu teacher there named Kenny Sadler, and we went. Me and my sister actually took kung fu together, and but he was a dentist in the Army, so he started training us, I think once or maybe even twice a week. I can't really recall, so long ago, but he got stationed somewhere else, I think down in North Carolina, and classes kind of stopped, but I think we took it close to a year, maybe a little bit over a year. I'm not quite sure. And then when I was 12 years old, I was on a Saturday morning, I was up watching cartoons like most 12-year-olds are doing. And my mother happened to be up as well, and she's getting ready, and she comes into my room and she goes, you want to go with me today? I said, where are you going? She's like, well, I'm going to go register people to vote. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay here and watch these cartoons. She said, well, yeah. Yeah. She said, well, I'm going to register people at a mall, and there's a karate school that's actually in the mall. I said, are you kidding me? She's like, no, it's one right there. I said, okay. So I put my clothes on, and I watched from 10 o'clock in the morning to 2:30 that day. I saw 2 kids classes, then 2 adult classes. I saw them do a gold belt test. And then afterwards, some black belts came in and were stretching and just kind of working out on their own. And I was just mesmerized from then on out. And
wow.
She said, if you want to get started, my mom was a Hampton High School teacher. And she said, as soon as I get paid, because back then they got paid once a month.
Once a month.
Once
My mom was a teacher too.
Yes.
Once a month.
And so she said, well, as soon as I get paid, we'll get you started. And that's what happened.
Which mall was it, Brian?
Mercury Mall, where Burlington.
Mercury Mall.
Mercury Mall.
The Orange Julius.
Orange Julius, and Murphy's Mart and Corvette.
Montgomery Ward.
Yeah, what was a little small personal touch was right there.
Man,
oh, yeah.
that was my joint. Remember the photo mat right outside?
Yeah.
Open air giant.
Little guy with the hammer with the nails.
He used to go and they had like a little, like you could get on a little kids like rides. Like you could put like 10 cents in and ride a horse and go around.
Yes.
Like all the man, that's old school Hampton, right?
I know. See, when we get started, we got to go on. But what about giant open air when you walked in and all those
all that air hit you?
Right? In the real old school bakery, the ladies actually baking stuff. That's old school, man. All right, let's get back to karate. Go ahead, Rusty.
So tell us, what is your current? Okay, let me ask you this. That's where you started, but how long did it take you to then progress? Did you stay at that studio? I know Frank Hargrove was an influence. Can you tell us a bit, like, so from there, your start, how did you progress? Because I know in high school, you were already like the man, so.
Well, yeah. back then, and even I kind of use the same formula now in my school. Most schools now, you can only go 2, maybe 3 days a week. But back then you can go, he had unlimited. And that's what I do at my schools as well. You can come as many times as you want. We recommend you try to make it to 3 classes a week. But I was there almost every day. And after the first or second week, my instructor, Frank Hargrove, he told my mom, he said, he's working really hard. If he wants, he can go to the 5 o'clock class and the 6 o'clock class. So I was going to 2 classes a week, almost every day, Monday through Saturday.
Wow.
Just getting it in. It was just like, 2 hours or nothing. Back then, still now, but our classes were 1 hour long. First 15 minutes were boot camp type calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, mountain climbers, leg lifts, you name it, we were doing it. And, so after I finished, I was drenched after the first class. The second class, I thought they would give me a little slack because I just finished the first class, because most people were in there coming in fresh. And they were like, no, you going to do these just like you. they kept me. And I was 12 and 13 years old. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with my whole entire leg just cramped up. It was tough. But yeah, so I kind of went through the ranks a little bit faster than most people. I started in the fall of 82, and by 85, December of 85, I made my first degree black belt.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did something that Frank Hargrove said nobody ever did before, which was I skipped from, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. I skipped 4 ranks in one test.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I went from what they call 6Q green belt to 2nd Q brown belt. Then I skipped 2nd Q brown belt and skipped 1st Q brown belt and went straight to my black belt. So the first time I skipped was because Hargrove's teacher was here, and he said he wanted Tony to test, and he skipped quite a few ranks, but Tony was quite a few ranks under me. And he skipped to my rank, and then he had me skip to where I was at brown belt. And then after that, Hargrove said, I'm ready for you to test for black belt. So I skipped that rank as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are you currently, Brian?
I am a 9th degree black belt or red belt in our style. Black belt is in the top in our style. Actually, red is the top. So some Okinawan styles, black isn't the highest, the red is solid red. So,
okay.
Yeah, so 9th and 10th in our style happens to be a solid red belt.
I know I've seen, I've known you for years, but I also follow what you're saying on social media, and I know you have some, you not only have the folks you teach here, don't you go overseas some? And where are you on a national level in terms of where you stand among? Aren't you one of the top in this country and in the world? Can you give us perspective?
In the style of Shorin-ryu, I am. Now there's quite a few people that us in the industry call illegitimate 10th dans and 9th dans, and even as low as 1st or 2nd degree. But if you actually can trace your lineage back to Japan and people over there recognize you, then you have some legitimacy in that regard. So in top, there's probably, and I haven't really thought about it, as far as I know though, 9th and 10th degree that are legitimate in the US is probably maybe 5 or 6 in my style.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and what was your style again? Because I
teach Okinawan Shorin-ryu. So if you go to the island of Okinawa, if you go to the island of Okinawa, there's quite a few different styles, but there's 3 styles that kind of maintain the island, and that's Shorin-ryu, Goju-ryu, and Uechi-ryu, and we do the Shorin-ryu.
Okay. Who would you say your role model has been? You talked about the guy from Monroe, you talked about Frank Hargrove. You probably met people regionally, nationally, internationally. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more than one. You don't want to shortchange anybody.
Yeah, actually, yeah. My last instructor was actually Hargrove's classmate. So when that time that I tested from green and skipped those ranks to brown, he not only brought over his instructor, but he also brought over 4 or 5 of his classmates to train with us for like a 2-week-long seminar, summer camp right down at Buckrow Beach. And, yeah, and that was before they had, mixed. I mean, it was still with the small hotels and the carnival. I mean, at the carnival.
Yeah.
It was still, all of that still was there. It wasn't working. That was back in '85, but it was still there. But anyway, but yeah, so he was a 6th degree at that time, a guy named Sei Nakaza. And I didn't see him again until my first trip to Okinawa. And when I went to Okinawa, he was there. And of course, I had a lot more hair back then. And
we all did.
So the first time I met him, he was 15. And then I met him again when I was 31, was my first trip to Japan. And when I saw him again, and I said, "Oh, Sei Nakaza," and I bowed. And he looked at me and was like, "How does this guy know my name?" And so he didn't say anything. We didn't have a translator there, so I couldn't speak but so much to say, what I needed to say to him. But later on, 2 days later, I saw him again, and we had the translator present. And I asked him, did he remember the guy with the flat top haircut that he trained? He was like, he jumped up from a sushi restaurant, came around and hugged me and said, "Man, I always wondered what happened to you." So then, so he would actually train me every time I would go back to Okinawa. He would pull me aside and show me small nuances and show me applications that I didn't know. And eventually that guy made 9th degree under his instructor, his and Frank's instructor.
Wow.
And he left and started his own organization. And in essence, to make a long story short, I went with him. And but so he was my last instructor of Shorin-ryu Karate.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this: do you just so I could have some perspective? What is karate? Is it is it a sport? Is it just a form of self-defense? And I'm saying that because I'm a coach, and so I've coached track, football, everything. But my track athletes I've taken to states, regionals, and national championships, Junior Olympics. Okay, do you guys have something like that? And I think I know the answer because I saw your daughter has done well. So if you can tell me a little bit about that.
So
Brian.
To answer your question, is it a sport or is it just a part of self-defense or it's a lifestyle? It is all of that. So the answer to that is yes. So you can go from white to black belt and past black belt, of course, and never set foot in a tournament and still have good, strong karate. We encourage young folks to do karate, even older folks too, because we have quite a few adults that compete as well. But yeah, I made the first U.S. karate junior team, national team by the AAU.
I remember that.
1985, like right before we went to 10th grade, there was an article in the paper.
The article, that's right.
In the paper, and I had Coach Kaz for my English, my 10th grade year. So I walked in, I think it was the first period too, and I'm in there with Jason and Jason Wallace and quite a few more other football players. And Coach Kaz called the roll the first day. And he said, "Brian Hobson," I said, "Here." He said, "I saw that paper and congratulations on that. That's a heck of an accomplishment." Everybody's looking at me like, "Who is this guy? What did he do?" You know what I'm saying? So you can compete on a national level, but at the same time, you don't have to do any of that in my school. Some schools require that you compete, and that's fine. But a lot of more schools don't compete than do compete. And but we go to the national championships sanctioned by the U.S. Olympic Committee every year, and we've been to Junior Olympics as well and that type of thing. But
what are some
come back from South America, Uruguay for the Pan American Championships.
Okay, cool. But now let me ask you one. I want to know what is maybe the best achievement some of your students have had, and then you personally as a competitor? What was the highest level that you attained in terms of winning?
I've actually had students win the WKC World Championships. There's one young lady won 2 gold medals, and I had another student win another 2 gold medals in the World Championship. I'm sitting up here looking at my on my wall, and I'm going, I don't want to leave anybody out, but that was probably the biggest. Now, the WKC is not the top. World Karate Confederation is not the top level, but it's right up there with it. And so yeah, it's one heck of an accomplishment, I would think. But yeah, right now, like I said, I have one student that is on the world, on ranked second in the nation right now, and he just went to the Pan American Championship. Didn't have a good tournament. He was winning 2-0. They made a crucial mistake and lost 3-2. But he's right. I'm looking for him to stay hungry, and hopefully he'll one day make the world team and go
wow,
big time things internationally. As far as me, I won 20 national championships and sanctioned either by U.S. Karate Federation,
wow,
US, National Karate Federation, or the AAU. And I guess, back when I was competing, now more people kind of, they kind of say, okay, I'm this guy or I'm that guy. Either they're doing kata, or what we call forms of what they call kata, or they're a fighting guy. And now, but back then when I was competing, people were kind of doing all three. So I've won a gold medal on kata, kumite, long weapons and short weapons. But I look back on it and I say I should have kind of, really did one and did that really well. But you look back and learn. But that's hindsight, right?
Yeah, but it all sounds great. Man, you don't know, like, and Kirk, I'll let you talk, but this always happens. Like,
no, you won't. No,
Brian is one of those dudes in my life that we could not. If we didn't even have social media, I could not see him for weeks, months, or years. And as soon as we're around each other, it's like, what's up? And that comes from our mothers went to college together and we're both physical education majors. And we were playing together when we were kids.
Yeah,
like
I thought Rusty was my cousin.
Yeah. Oh, and we tell people would always think, a lot of people thought you were probably my brother more than they thought Melinda is my brother.
Right.
Yeah. And we would tell people we're cousins. We might as well have been,
Right.
Yep. Yeah. And so anyway, I just want to tell you how much I do. And so appreciate you as a friend, but I'm also very, very proud of you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. I was telling the story to somebody, I don't know who, I think it was one of your Alpha brothers, that a lot of people don't realize that, you might have forgotten this too, but me and Melendez played on the same basketball team together at Mallory.
At Mallory.
City championships my first year.
That's right.
Yeah. And I said, guess what position I played? They go, what? I said, I was a starting center, and I'm 5'7" right now.
Brian, I played for Mallory, and you know what? And we have a mutual friend, Russell Arrington, who played. Right. That's how we became friends, playing for Mallory.
Right.
I think you and I have the same story because we were this height back then.
Right.
And we just didn't grow.
I think I might have been shorter.
And I played center, and that's why even to this day, like I still I have those tendencies to go down low, and think I'm physical.
I don't have an outside game because of that.
Me either, right?
I was short then, but I could jump. I had athletic. I was pretty high jumper, and for whatever reason, I just playing basketball as a kid with my dad. He would be doing stuff like hook shots. So I was like, all right, I got a hook shot too. So when we tried out, I was throwing this hook shot up and jumping, and we had plays for my hook shot. It was crazy.
Okay, one last thing, Kirk. Brian, remember this? When we were in high school, we didn't play for Bethel, but we played for Northampton.
I do remember that.
And so at Northampton, again, we're in high school now, and we're not tall. Everybody else kept growing, and we have been forwards and centers, but all of a sudden the coaches are looking at us like, no, you're a guard.
Yeah.
We didn't have the, I won't say you,
No,
but
we
I
didn't
didn't have the
I know I
dribbling
didn't
or
either.
shooting
No.
skills.
No.
So I had to develop those
Yeah.
pretty quick, but still can't shoot. But I at least learned how. I'm left-handed, I'm gonna go left. We have a classic video from our 25-year reunion.
And my wife keeps in her archives.
Yeah. Every couple of years, she has to put that on Facebook. But sorry, Kirk. It's my man. Go ahead, Kirk.
Okay. All right. Now I was going to ask you when you talk about the lifestyle, because before we started recording, Brian, I was telling you how many karate studios there are up here, and they have all the buses and all that. But I've seen so many parents talk about they've gotten their children into karate, martial arts, and it's really built their self-esteem. So let's talk about the lifestyle and what you are able to instill into children, because our viewers out there, you know, we're getting to the age where many of us, not me, not yet, but we're getting grandchildren, you know, and then we've got some younger friends that have children. So let's just talk about for parents out there, the values, the discipline that you're able to do with the kind of work that you do with your studio.
Well, you know, every child, of course, is different. And so what karate usually does is within a 2 or 3 day span, or even sooner in most cases, karate will show deficiencies as soon as we see that child, either their movement or their physical or their focus or their discipline. Something is deficient. Most times it's more than one thing. And what karate is going to do, usually, if they're in a good traditional strong program, they're going to work on that. And karate, in my opinion, is the third prong in a 3-prong approach. So if the parents are working with that child at home on focusing or discipline or whatever the case may be, and the school is also doing that, karate is going to be that third prong. It's going to get him there hopefully sooner. And the things that you learn in the martial arts, such as the yes, sir, the no, sir, the yes, ma'am, the no, ma'am, that courtesy is going to bleed over in other parts of your life. Every time I got a certificate, when I was getting a rank, of course, you bow to your instructor when he's giving it to you. When I was graduating Hampton University and I was walking across the stage to go see President Harvey, and I told myself, don't bow, Brian, don't bow. Do whatever you do, don't bow. I took that diploma, shook his hand. What did I do? I couldn't stop myself from actually bowing. I couldn't stop. But those things are just inherent, and that you just learn how to do. So I never forget my very first job out of college. I was sitting down with my supervisor. He was asking me, it was a part-time job down at juvenile detention in Newport News. And he was asking me questions, and I was saying, yes, sir, no, sir, to him. He looked at me, as like, listen, man, you don't have to impress me. You already got the job. I said, I'm sorry. That's just what I do. And but that's just, but after, once you get comfortable with people, then you can stop or whatever. But initially, that's what you learn how to do.
How about your studio? Tell us about your studio, where it is, because we've probably got, what, Rusty, as many viewers in Hampton Roads as we do up here in Northern Virginia, DC.
We call ourselves, we're a bunch of kids from the HPT, and now we live in the DMV.
Right.
But we love home, we love Hampton, we love the 757.
Right. Well, I have actually 2 karate schools. One is in the heart of Hampton. If you're familiar with Sinclair Circle and where Win Bike Shop used to be, I took that over back in 2005. Before that, I was down at Willow Oaks. So I opened up in 99. And like I said, I moved here in 2005. I was very fortunate to be here in the bike shop. And about 4.5 years ago, I got another smaller location up in Yorktown at the, what's it called? George Washington Square. Right there by Goodwill and Anytime Fitness in that strip mall. So, but yeah, 2 places, one in Hampton, one in Yorktown. And it keeps me busy. And I'd love for you guys, if anybody knows any kids, teens, or adults, we have a Dynamite adult program. Gets you fit, keeps you fit. and gives your body and your life some balance.
Where can people find you on the web or social media?
Where else? BrianHobsonKarate.com, BrianHobsonKarate.com. And we also on Facebook, Brian Hobson Karate 1 or I, and Brian Hobson II or 2. Okay.
Okay, cool. We definitely want
HOBSON. HOBSON.
How?
Yeah. Sometimes there's variations. Okay. So that's where people can find you now. So you went to Bethel, you went to Hampton, and you and Rusty were talking about, did you play any other sports? Because obviously you're a great athlete. Did you wrestle? Or?
I went out for the wrestling team all of 1 month. I was in the greatest shape of my life, I think. I mean, I love that workout. I love how they just got it. But then I went out and bought my shoes and stuff, and we started wrestling and stuff. And I go, and then the next thing you know, you switch, you go to another guy. And after maybe 3 weeks of, rolling around and other people sweat, I was like, this ain't for me.
Oh
yeah, that wasn't my forte, but I loved the workout. And like I said, I was in great shape. But I did play tennis. I was on the Bethel tennis team.
That's right. Yeah.
I believe that. I actually played when I was in 9th grade through 12th grade. And I played varsity 11th and 12th grade. So I was number 6 my 11th grade year, and captain of the team, and played number 2 my senior year.
Kirk, you played tennis for Phoebus, right?
Yeah, that's probably why I know your name. I played 5 my sophomore year, 1 and 1.
Oh yeah.
So I remember Dennis Tillman.
Yeah,
I think he went to Notre Dame.
Dennis Tennis.
85. And
He's
then
85.
I don't remember 86 or the next couple years. I can't quite remember back then.
A guy named Mike Matera was number 2, and number 1, I see him. He lived in I can't remember his name. He was kind of quiet guy, but he was class 86, but he lived in Farmington. I can't remember his name though.
I remember Chris Winder played baseball, but he was a good player.
That's right. Chris, I think, was number 1 my sophomore year. So he had a tennis court in his backyard, so you're supposed to be
okay.
Well, his sister was real good, and then
she played
number
1.
Right.
I think when I got there in 10th grade, she was number 1 tennis player. She was class of 85.
Yeah.
Who was your coach? Was Coach Dickey your coach?
Dickey was my coach.
That's my man right there. I love Coach Dickey.
Coach Alexander, and then Coach Knackman was 11th and 12th grade.
Okay. I don't remember him. Coach Dickey taught me driver's ed. So.
Yeah, Coach Knackman, I don't think he was a school teacher anyway. I think they just brought him in to coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brian, I know a little bit more. So I know you went to Hampton. You also went to graduate school. Can you tell us what you majored in and how that's applied to what you're doing now? And then I think you also have another job. Do you still teach?
Well, I went to Hampton University, and my major was sociology, criminology. And that's how I got into juvenile detention. And then I was social work, probation, and parole. And matter of fact, me and William Beverly used to work together in all of those things. And then after about 4.5 years of that, I said I wanted to switch gears totally. And I went down to Alabama to a school called the U.S. Sports Academy down in Mobile. Well, actually a place called Daphne. It's close to Mobile, right across the bay. And I got a master's degree in sports management. And I also, up before COVID, I taught at Hampton University, which was fun, for about 3 or 4 years as a professor teaching martial arts in their physical education department. But recently I've been teaching at Thomas Nelson, doing the exact same thing. But once COVID hit, it's hard to teach karate to beginners. Online. So I said, once things calm down, hopefully we can get back to it. But That's just, and a lot of times college is going down, the enrollment has gone down nationwide. I think I heard something just yesterday. I think it's almost close to 10%. Kids are just like, I'm just going to wait till it comes back to regular school or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll happen. But how do I use it today? I use, and people kind of go, you're not using your degree. I say I use it every day. The sports management really kind of gave me how to be a leader, how to manage my people, how to manage not just my instructors, but also how to manage my students and their parents, that type of thing. And the sociology gives me kind of like a background on, how economics work, how to maneuver, and when things go awry in the world, I know that stuff like karate is probably going to be the first thing to go. So I got to think about things, see how things are happening in the world, and buckle down. And one thing that's being in my own business has taught me is to save for a rainy day.
Yeah. Did COVID impacted your business?
Yes, it did and it didn't. And to be honest with you, I had a lot of friends that went out of business, and luckily we shut down for all of 2 weeks. I didn't even know what Zoom was. And I was like, yeah, and I'm doing Zoom with my class. I was like, what is Zoom? And I was talking to one of my students, and she was like, yeah, you probably have it on your phone. I was like, really? And I looked at, lo and behold, I had Zoom. So we started, I did a week full of Zoom classes, just myself, just to kind of keep people in on it. And then after that, I had different rooms, and I set up all my instructors. So sometimes we'd have both karate schools going and having 7 rooms going. So all different groups could go to different rooms. So we had it all down pat. We did that for all of 3 months. And when the governor opened us back up right at the beginning of the summer, we opened back up and everything was fine. We of course had masks on and gloves, and we even had face shields and stuff. And it was great. We did it. And after, things started lifting, soon as school started back last year, it was like a huge karate boom. I had never experienced anything like that. And I thought it was just kind of because of, we were kind of stagnant for so long because of it. And it's just started, and all the way through May of last year, it was steady to the point where now I'm actually on a wait list for both of my schools for some classes. Like my kids,
that's a blessing.
It's a blessing. I don't know what it is, but it's just kind of steadily been rolling in. So knock on wood, it stays that way.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this. One of the questions we'll ask a lot of our guests is like, what is your favorite movie of all time? Now, you can answer that question by either just say your favorite movie of all time could be, I don't know, Star Wars. But do you have a favorite movie of all time and then a favorite movie with some type of martial arts? And who is your favorite martial artist in the movies? And I'm gonna put it this way. I know, who's probably really doing their stunts and doing stuff. But I have friends like this, a doctor, and they'll say, when they watch a TV show, like they're going, man, nobody would do that. If that patient came in with that, you wouldn't do that. So do you, or I'll watch something and somebody's running, and I've coached track for years, I'm going, look at that form. That's horrible. You wouldn't train or do that. So do you watch movies and go, they got real skills, they don't? And it's because so many action movies now, everybody's using some form of martial arts and just whatever. So tell me, where do you stand with some of that?
I don't have a favorite all-time movie. Martial arts movie, it would probably be Bruce Lee, Game of Death.
Okay.
And because that had Kareem.
I thought you might go with something with Bruce Lee.
And with a tie with Jet Li, what was that movie that he was fighting the karate guy? I think it was called Forever or something like that. But I even have it at home, but I don't watch it that much. or at all, really. But it is one of my favorites. When he was, they brought a Japanese guy over to China to fight him, and of course he beat him. Yeah. Those two are my favorite. I really used to like the Steven Seagal movies.
Okay.
Doing the Aikido, and it was just so different. And Seagal was a true martial artist, just like Jet Li. Now, my little boy, what started me in the martial arts, like most people, was the Bruce Lee. Nobody can stop that. But now, being in the martial arts all these years, since 1982, you look at the Bruce Lee movie and you go, and the sign of the times, because there's so much that's gotten a lot better these days. I mean, I remember him, like holding somebody up and spinning them around, and you look at it now, like, man, that's a dummy, like he really just done that, and just throwing them out. But yeah, so it's just, and even the people who follow Bruce Lee and still do what he's teaching now, they go, the teaching, what he did in the movies versus what he taught really isn't indicative of what he knew. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Just to follow up on that, who's the guy that did the movie with Chris Tucker?
Jackie Chan.
What do you think about him?
Now, he's a true martial artist. I never really liked Jackie Chan, even before he was big time like he is now, right? I never, because to me, his thing was really like stunts, and he wanted people to go, wow. I wasn't, like, fighting to me shouldn't be funny. It should be humorous. This guy's trying to kick your butt.
But yeah,
he's trying to kick his butt too. So it was never fun. Like, so I used to kind of be like, I don't want to watch Jackie Chan, but I do love him and Chris Tucker. I do love that. That combination right there is awesome. And I do love him in the next Karate Kid. I love that too. That's one of my favorite. Whenever that's on, my wife watches that as well. So yeah.
Russ, what's your favorite tip? Martial arts.
For me?
Yeah, movies.
For me or Brian?
Yeah, no, for you.
Oh, for me, yeah, I think it would be something. Okay, so let me just say this. A few years ago, I don't know what happened to me. I'm getting old, right? And so I used to like not be afraid of heights. I mean, I remember when my daughter and I were at some place like Kings and Maine, and we were on one of those skyline things. All of a sudden, I started grabbing her, and she wasn't even scared. And I'm like, I didn't want to fall there. Man. So my point is, I now get squeamish about stuff I never do. So when I watch these movies, I know it's fake. But when they stood, you know what I think really did it though? I'm always thinking of like Joe Theismann in his leg break. Like, so I don't really like to look at some of the action scenes. And again, so I don't watch a lot of those movies. And if I do, I'm not as into those scenes because I'm just like, I'm squeamish. I could have never been in medical, a doctor or anything. But I like the Jackie Chan movies just because I like the action and I like the humor. So, what about you, Kirk? I know what you like.
I'm gonna go off the page, man.
I know what you like. I know.
No, that's number two. One of the cheesiest movies ever made.
Kung Fu House.
Leroy.
Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze.
Oh, Roadhouse.
The bouncer, and he knew all the martial arts, and he lived in that barn.
Yeah, he was good.
So I don't even know if he was a martial artist.
Oh yeah, he was.
Karate Kid, man. I mean, Daniel LaRusso. Gotta love that. And I know he was not a martial artist, I don't think. But
what was the movie with Bruce Leroy? I used to like that was
Last Dragon.
Last Dragon. There you go. That's the movie.
Yeah, you gotta add it. That's top 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanity. Yeah. Just because Vanity was in it.
Yes. And who was the Shogun dude, man?
I don't remember his name, but
Shonuff, whatever.
Yeah, I forgot his real name.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Let's talk. We like to just have some fun because it's fun to talk pop culture for our age. What about music? Rusty and I have really good taste in music, so we're figuring you do too.
I think so.
Old school. I mean, what do you like?
I like anything, man. I always kind of go back to high school and college days. That kind of keeps me in the mindset of the old hip hop days and stuff. So yeah, anything old school hip hop, I'm down with it. But I like some of the new stuff, and even our young, just like my playlist is just all over the place. People go, man, where's your play? I don't have any like this is my chill music that is just everywhere. So yeah, I like, and even bluegrass I got in there and stuff. So
Okay.
Bluegrass is getting big.
I love to hear banjo and stuff like that, but I'm not a country person, but I love to hear bluegrass because of the banjo. But I like blues as well. But yeah, anything good.
I think
the old MTV days back when we were in junior high school. I mean, I never, man, some people are like, how do you know that song? Like, man, we used to watch MTV. Next thing you know, you singing it.
But look, back then, I think it wasn't about, and I think it's because of that MTV era. It was just music. So like we like black, white artists, like remember Duran Duran, Madonna, like all those who Cyndi Lauper, like it was just music and we were grooving to it,
They were good too. I mean, there were a lot of 80s. You just named some really good bands, and then for hip hop, and we grew up in the prime, man. I mean, we grew up when LL Cool J was coming out, Run DMC was coming out,
and then we went into the Biggie era, like that early to mid 90s. Like
they smoothed it out. They kind of smoothed it out, rolled it out, and then I don't know, it's gone a little downhill since.
I agree. Every now and then they have a nice
tune. I also got to be a big fan of West Coast, like NWA, Ice Cube, Snoop. I did that.
Absolutely. So Warren G.
But, Warren G. Yeah, so now I'm more. It's basically old school. I still also like when we were kids, like the Motown era, and if anything new, really the only new stuff I listen to is gospel. So Kirk Franklin, to me, we will not appreciate that brother until years from now. But he puts out prolific, great music, now over 20 some years. And so I'm a big Kirk Franklin fan.
Yeah, I know a lady that just saw Patti LaBelle. I don't know if it was the Isley Brothers. I think it was the Isley Brothers in Richmond. So when I start thinking about that great R&B that we grew up with, Boyz II Men was pretty good. But I like John Legend. John Legend is really good, and I like Alicia Keys. So Rusty and I always talk about food because we like food. You can tell by looking at us. You're all skinny, but listen. What's our famous question, Rusty? One meal on a deserted island.
So this will be our last official question from here. We'll probably try to wrap things up, but this is a question. Now, if you could just eat one meal, and I won't say, so the meal means you can include your vegetable, your drink, your dessert, one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, that's tough. That is tough. I wish y'all to ask that on Inco. I would have liked to see what he was going to eat.
Did we ask him?
I don't think he did.
No, we should have. You're right. He would have just
had a good answer for you.
Yeah, he might have just said Old Country Buffet. That's just
right.
that's the whole
thing. Let me tell you a quick story. I grew up with Inco too. We used to swim every year at Hampton Institute together. It was a Red Cross program out there. And I don't know if I know, Kurt, you remember Hannibal Howell?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was in that program too. So they were big boys back then. We used to swim every year. So, you work your way up from tadpoles to guppies to fish to flying fish. So the highest thing was junior life saving. Then you go for your life saving. So I was doing junior life saving, and I was all of 13 years old. Probably won't, but maybe 115 pounds. And I had to save Inco.
Yo!
Yeah, pretending like he's drowning in the middle of the water and in the middle of the deep end. I had to dive under, turn him around, and cross chest carry, swim him back to the lower end. Yeah, those are the days, man.
Yeah, man. Oh, that's a classic story. I think I would have just been
yeah,
like, I'm done.
Hannibal Howe. But going back to the meal, it would probably, and a lot, I love my sushi. But my thing is right now, if it would probably be some type of Thai dish, because I just don't get tired of Thai.
Yeah.
Yeah, but probably some type of Thai dish. If I could just pick one genre,
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I love seafood, but that's why I would kind of go Chinese food, because I can get the seafood in there, like the noodles, and.
And if you like Chinese, I think you'll enjoy Thai even better.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
That's my thing. My wife enjoys that as well.
All right. So let's promo your studio one more time. So you're at www.Brian, and that is BRIAN.
And
BRIAN, because there's YAN, and then Hobson, HOBSON.com. And then if somebody Google's Hobson or Brian Hobson Karate, it's going to show up in Hampton, New York.
Pop up. Yeah, absolutely. With some videos and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
We do traditional karate ages 5 and up in our Hampton location, ages 6.5 and up in my Yorktown location. And we have separate classes for kids, peewees, kids, teens, and adults. So, a lot of times adults want to do martial arts, but they don't want to be standing beside this little 5 and 7-year-old. We won't have that in our class. So the way I teach martial arts to peewees is different from the way I teach kids, and the way I teach kids is different from the way I teach teens, and the way I teach teens is different from the way I teach adults, because everybody has a different learning curve. Everybody's into martial arts for different reasons. So that's what we do. And I have a great staff of trained black belts that have gone with me from white to black belt. Some have been with me for over 20 years training with me. And one of our slogans is train with champions. Most of our black belts are at least state champions. A lot of them are multiple time national champions. So, when you train with champions, you'll be a champion, and not just in tournaments, but in life. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brian. Man, it has been a pleasure. Look, we
absolutely
get you back up here. Anytime you want, something you want to promote or talk about, or maybe you have some students you want to bring. Hey, and look, we didn't even get into your wife, who's a star. And I've known her since we were kids. Lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same college, and so
I thought you were going to say that my wife's sister was Pat Kovacs.
So
she was she was big time in terms of sports around the area and stuff.
Love Miss Kovacs.
And her father was he is on the wall at Boo Williams. He's the Virginia Sports League. He is one of the honorees for the and so maybe you could have her on there to speak on Hall of Fame for the Virginia, because he played football and track, and plus he was a big time coach and stuff like that.
No doubt. That's what I'm talking about. We have a lot of people that we know, and Kirk and I, it's funny. We'll start talking about, well, who do we want to talk? And I'm like, well, no, I really know Brian Hobson. I know these people. I know Squirt. I really know them. No, not
people going Squirt. They'll see
you. Todd Kelly. I could send them a personal message and they would respond. So I'm blessed to have people like you. And then I'll say one last thing as we wrap up. Brian is so humble. He is just like a regular guy to me and to other people, but he is the man, and he hadn't even, you wouldn't know it. You're just around. He could be around you, and I'll forget. We'll be at a reunion, we'll be doing something, and I forget. This dude could probably beat me if we got in a fight.
Probably. Everybody.
We're like brothers, so I can see us arguing and me. What you gonna do? But really. I think Brian could probably take me down. When we were kids, I don't know, but now, but my thing is, man, I'm so proud of you. You have no idea how much I brag on you.
I'm proud of you too, man. Rusty, do you remember coming to one of my tournaments at VCU?
I think so. Yeah.
My freshman year at freshman year in Hampton, I was on. They put together a Virginia team and they had a Chicago team, and this Scotland team came over to fight us. And I was like, really? This is weird, but yeah, And I was actually 17 at the time, and they was like supposed to be a men's team. And you came out. I don't even know how I got in contact with you, but I think was out on campus. And it wasn't a lot of people there, but it was probably, I think probably about 100, 200 spectators, whatever, but it was just an all black belt tournament. And that was my first adult tournament, but I had just won, I think, the nationals for the first time as a junior. And he was like, we're gonna move you on up. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Yeah. But I appreciate you coming out, man. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah, yeah. We're like family, Kirk. Your sister, like you, I forget you're so much younger than us. You started school young, but like your sister and I are 2 days apart,
Yeah.
So yeah, oh man. I remember so many great times as a kid, man. But thanks again, Kirk. You can close us out.
Yeah, Brian, thanks for coming on. I tell you, the things that's infectious about you is your smile, and you get to do something that not many people get to do. I can tell you love what you do for a living. Not many people love what they do for a living. You haven't stopped smiling yet, and that's because you are in the middle of what you're doing, and very successful. We'd love to connect when we're down there and have you back on, maybe after a big tournament or something. And
bring some of your students.
Yeah. Let's talk to some of your students.
Yeah, I actually I put on I co-host two tournaments, me and this other guy in Chesapeake, guy named Darren Myers. And he and I, we put on two tournaments. It's called the Mid-Atlantic Championship, and the other one's called the Battle at Shirley Castle. And they are both given at Hampton University Convocation Center. So it's a dynamite facility, world-class facility.
I've never been in it.
Yeah.
It's nice, bro.
I'm a Holland Hall guy.
Yeah, no, yeah, we used to do that too.
Yeah,
we have competitors from all up and down the East Coast sometimes, and it's really a dynamite event. Maybe we'll invite you guys down or have some of my students come down. And,
definitely do that. Maybe we can do some live tweeting from there, or you can put our show on there, on our channel, do some stuff right there. Yeah, and then help you promote it beforehand. So thanks again, Brian. Much love to you and the family, and I appreciate
you guys. Appreciate it,
Brian.
Come on back.
Take care.
God bless.
Everybody was kung fu